She scored 105 points in a single high school game. She won 2 national championships, a gold medal, and 2 National Player of the Year awards before she ever turned 22. She is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And yet, she never played a single second of professional basketball. If you think that sounds impossible, stick around, because today we're breaking down the career of the woman most people still call the greatest women's basketball player of all time, Cheryl Miller. What's up everybody, welcome back to Basketball Daily, the channel where we dig into the stories, the legends, and the legacies that built this game. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we drop videos just like this one all the time. Now let's get into it. California has always been a factory for elite basketball talent, and back in the late 70s and early 80s, one family out of Riverside was producing more of it than anyone else. Cheryl Miller was the middle child of 5 siblings, with an older brother who'd go play professional baseball, and a younger brother, Reggie Miller, who'd become a Hall of Famer in his own right with the Indiana Pacers. But it was Cheryl who became the most dominant figure to come out of that household, and honestly, one of the most dominant figures in the history of the sport. At Riverside Poly High School, she was a 5-star recruit before that term even existed. She stood 6'2" as a freshman, and she was named a Parade Magazine All-American all 4 years of high school, the first player, male or female, to ever pull that off. Over her career she averaged 32 points and 15 rebounds a game, won 4 straight section championships, and became the first women's player on record to dunk in an actual game. But the number that still stops people in their tracks is 105. On January 26, 1982, Cheryl Miller scored 105 points in a single high school game, in just 32 minutes of play, with no three-point line to help her out. She didn't even play the final 2 minutes. By the time she graduated, she had received over 250 scholarship offers, making her the most heavily recruited female athlete in history. She narrowed it down to 2 schools, and ultimately chose USC after the McGee twins, 2 stars already leading the Trojans, gave her a simple pitch: you can play the next 2 years with us, or against us. She picked with them, and USC basketball was never the same. As a freshman in 1983, Miller helped lead USC to a national championship, beating Louisiana Tech in a nail-biter. The next year, they did it again, this time knocking off Pat Summitt's Tennessee squad in the Final Four, right on UCLA's home floor. 2 championships, 2 Tournament Most Outstanding Player awards, and her first Naismith Player of the Year trophy, all before her sophomore year was even done. Then came the Olympics. In the summer of 1984, with the Games held right in Los Angeles, Cheryl Miller joined Team USA, coached by none other than Pat Summitt, the same coach she'd just beaten for a title. The two clashed early, and after a rough exhibition performance got her benched, Summitt pulled her aside and told her something that stuck with her for the rest of her career: "You're already the best player in the country. Now I need you to be the best player in the world." Miller took that challenge, elevated her game, and led Team USA to Olympic gold, right in her own backyard. Back at USC for her junior and senior seasons, she kept piling up the hardware. A second straight Naismith Player of the Year award in 1985, 4 All-American selections, and averages that no one else in the sport was touching, sometimes 25 or 26 points a game to go with double-digit rebounds and multiple steals and blocks a night. By the time her college career ended in 1986, after a tough loss in the national championship game to Texas, she was already being called the greatest women's player ever, and she hadn't even turned pro yet. And that's where the story takes its cruelest turn. In 1986, there was no WNBA. The few professional women's leagues in the US had already folded. Her only real option was to play overseas. But before she ever got that chance, she suffered a career-ending ACL injury during a pickup game against NBA players. The most dominant player in the history of the sport never got to play a single professional game. It remains one of the biggest what-ifs in basketball history. But Cheryl Miller didn't disappear. She became an assistant coach at USC, then a broadcaster, Then in 1993 she returned as USC's head coach, coaching future Hall of Famers Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson. In 1995, she was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, a nearly unheard-of honor for someone who never played professionally. When the WNBA finally launched in 1997, a decade too late for her playing career, she became the first head coach of the Phoenix Mercury, leading them to the finals in her second season. Along the way, she also broke barriers in broadcasting, becoming the first woman to call a nationally televised NBA game back in 1996. She'd go on to coach at the college level again, at Langston University and later Cal State LA, staying connected to the game she helped build well into her 60s. Cheryl Miller never got her professional playing career. The timing simply wasn't there. But every basketball fan today who watches the women's game grow, expand, and thrive is watching something Cheryl Miller helped build with her bare hands, from the sidelines and the broadcast booth, after the game took everything from her on the court. That's the story of Cheryl Miller, a career that ended without a single professional game, and somehow still stands as one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, subscribe to Basketball Daily for more stories like this, and let me know in the comments who you want us to cover next. I'll see you in the next video.